Hey folks, so we're burning a bunch of shit because as I said in the last video, I'm clearing a path for the electric to come in, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess whichever way you look at it, it's causing me more work because I was going to clear out this front anyway. Or at least take down the big pine trees, and now that the lines are going to go up, I can't wait because I don't want to be taking down trees while, and take the risk of knocking down power lines. So I'm having to do it all now. Instead of, this probably would have been about priority 975 on my list otherwise. So what's on the pile is what I've been working on today. I mean, I had it burning yesterday too with, basically some whole pine trees that were, or tops of pine trees anyway. And now I don't have to take out the stumps right now because, unless they're in their way for some reason. But I don't mind taking out the stumps after. It's the, because it's not going to, there's no risk with the power lines. I just have to make sure I don't lift the bucket up into a power line. So what I've been doing today is pretty much clearing logs, putting them on the log pile over there for building, clearing out brush and twigs and branches and all the debris from cutting down this whole section on the burn pile. And I keep feeding that. That's probably already burned down. Yesterday it burned down to about half that size, and today I've probably added back on the same amount, and it's burned down again. That was pretty high, like 20 feet in the air high. So as you can see, I'm clearing this out now. This was probably the worst part of the terrain. It's all kind of got sunken spots and blah blah blah. Well, after I get this all cleared out, I'll bring dirt over and fill this in and make it a nice slope, and then I'm going to plant grass, so that'll be part of the front yard there. That will be right next to the driveway as you come in. Originally, I was thinking about maybe a pond, but I want one that's spring fed, and that one wouldn't be, and then I got to worry about it being dried up and ugly if we get some kind of drought in the future, which I'm sure we will. So I'm just going to make it a nice long sloping yard, and then afterwards, after I get a bunch of other stuff done, I'll plant some trees in there, and I'll do the same along the front. I'll plant some trees behind the fence line, but basically I want it all clear. It was mostly pines anyway, so I want it all clear so I can just do a straight fence, no problem, no issues. And the tree line was blocking where the fence would go anyway on my property line, so this way I can put the fence right down my front property line, and then about 10-20 feet behind the fence I can plant trees of the type that I want. These are all logs that'll be used on the sawmill to make posts for the fence, and all the lumber to make the house and the shop. Right across there is that opening I created to my neighbor's pole, straight behind that pile of brush there, and it's gonna cut through here and go back to that back half, and I'm going to keep it, make them hug it as close to the edge right straight ahead as I can. So I'm going to have some more trees on this, over on this side to take out, and then I've still got the ones back behind there that I showed you before, and then of course all these in front. And there's a bunch of pines here, so that's more logs for the sawmill. And like I said, they were going to get cut down one way or the other, so it don't matter. So it doesn't look like much now, but you know, use your imagination. Nice sloping green grass. More trees of different types planted around more in a random pattern there. Hey folks, so we'll give a little update here. The dog is being taken for her early afternoon walk here. So, had some issues. I hope to be pretty much done by now, and working on my pads or whatever, laying out my building so that I could, which is about the last step next to putting in the actual electrical boxes and stuff. So what we've got is, there's the opening from the neighbor's pole, and then I've got this all cleared, which I believe was pretty much done the last time. Then I was working on this over here, and I've got a few more trees I got to take out to create a clear path over to that back side, and then the rest of it is on the back side. So we'll let the dog run a little bit here. I've been giving her a little bit of leeway on the back part here because I got her pretty well trained to like stop and get the leash back on her when I want her to. I think that's what we're going to do today, is do some cleanup, maybe take out some stumps. I've got plenty of cleanup to do over here. I fixed the backhoe leak so I can actually use the backhoe to dig out some of these. So that pine tree right there is the one I was cutting down. Fortunately, I wasn't so far into it that it became unstable. It's still fine. So I'll probably just dig that one out. Now this whole row, including this big oak tree here and a couple of oaks there, this all has to come out because I want the power lines are basically going to go down right in the row where this tree is here. That way it's down the side. Matches up pretty perfectly straight across there. That pine tree right there, not this tree, the pine tree behind that, is right in line with where that thing is, that opening is. So I've got these trees here to clear out. I want to give 15 feet either side. You got to give 30 feet total as far as, like, you know, them having access. So all of these trees got to go, not for the power lines, but again because they're going to come down anyway, and I don't want anything here that I've got to cut down later left. But it's starting to open up a little bit, even though I've done more on the other side since the last video than I have on this side, because I still got to stack all these logs. And I'm going to try to save as many of the trees as I can, as long as they're stable, and as long as they're not going to make them have to put the power line too far over this way, too far over that way, because essentially I want it to come up the side of where the house side's going to be, and not be in my way, and not where I got to stare at them all the time. I'll tell you what, she runs fast. That's not even close to fast for what I've seen her run. She's got to dodge stuff up here. When she gets going on a cleared out space like the driveway, She just bolts. Let's go. Ellie. Yes, yes, we got to get muddy. She loves the water. I don't, if I do a pond, I can't wait to see that. And she chases bugs, no matter what they are. Butterflies, flies, bugs. Sooner or later here, I'll do a comparison video of like what it was like in my first couple of videos and what those areas look like now, so you really get the flavor of it. So it's I believe it's September 25th, and had a little bit of a delay on the project to get the property ready for the electric people to come out and run the lines. I keep burning up chainsaws, so I had a really good chainsaw, and I couldn't find any chains for it around here, so which is why I ended up buying some of the cheaper ones, because you can find the chains all the time. Well, so I ordered some on Amazon, so that took about 4 days to get here, but they fit and it works, and knock on wood. And then, I'm lucky if I get a week or two out of each time I have to wrench on the backhoe, but that's the way it is. So had an interesting moment about 5 minutes ago. I had started this and all the winds were calm and blah blah blah. I got a big gust of wind and it just started swirling this thing around. It was like not the most pleasant feeling. As you can see, the log pile is growing, and it'll come right across here, right where that tall stump is there, is right in line with that, but we're going to come a little bit to the left of that, so we could come down here in between these two oak trees on the other side. So pretty much I've got a couple more pine trees I'm going to cut over here because I'm going to use them for lumber, but other than that, essentially what I got left over here is cleanup. I've done more on the back side. Cut a couple more trees down, and I think I got maybe 4 or 5 more trees down over there. I don't feel like walking all the way over there right now, so I've been working all day and sweating, and I'm getting too old for this shit. So whatever you can see from here, so I've got to clean up this whole bank here. There's a couple little trees I got to cut over there, and then I got to start on, like, that oak's got to go, unfortunately, but it's right in the direct line of where I want the power lines. I believe it's September 26th, and I've pretty much been focusing on the back half here where the house is going to be today, and that's like the top half of one of the pines I cut down that I'm dragging out to the front. I'll probably slice off part of the bottom should be good for some posts. And pretty much looks like devastation here right now because I got a bunch of trees I just cut down. I mean, they're sliced up mostly, but they're laying everywhere, so I got to drag them out of here and either put them on the log pile, one of the log piles, or put them on the burn pile. So as you can see, like, this one's all sliced up, and so are those, and so on and so on. When I've got like a smaller tree that's of no use to me in terms of lumber, I can a lot of times just drag the whole thing out and throw the whole thing on the burn pile in one piece. So no sense in cutting them in pieces if I don't have to, and then having to drag more than one piece out. You know what I mean? Other times like this, where I've got, like I say, part of the bottom that's useful, I'll drag the whole thing out in one piece, and then I'll cut it. I'll drag it in front of the burn pile and then cut off the part I want to keep. So I've cut out most of this center stand here. There's a couple of oaks back there I'm going to keep. The only one so far that's kind of bummed me out that I got to cut it down is this oak here, but it's nice and straight, so I'll get some nice floor, tongue and groove flooring out of that. And in fact, that might be enough just by itself to do my sister's whole house, or close to it. This big oak here is staying. I'm gonna probably put the service, which is like where you have your outside fuse box and your what do you call it, meter. Probably put that over in here somewhere, and that'll end their involvement. It's almost there. I think I might be able to cut down the rest of the trees that I need to cut down tomorrow, and then probably another couple of days to basically drag everything out of here and clean up. And then I got to start digging out some stumps and creating the area for the pad, which isn't really going to be a pad. It's going to be pier and beam, but where I can stake out the house and then lay some forms for the piers. So, and then I got to go get some cement and start actually like putting down some piers. So, burn pile's almost gone up front, and that's with like several days of adding to it. So that's good. And then whatever burns up here is good, and then I'll push it all down into, there's a depression down there and a couple of stumps, and I'll let the stumps burn up right in the ground. So, judging from where the sun is in the sky, probably about 5 o'clock on, I don't know, September 28th, September 29th, somewhere in there, towards the end of September. Yeah, I started this back burn pile up, and it just immediately went whoosh. Like, where the wind hits it, it's just burning hot. So I'm having to keep a close eye on this. I've still got leaves on the ground in places over here, and dead branches in trees, and all kinds of other shit. The last thing I need is a spark to start the whole fucking place on fire. So hopefully, though, since it's burning hot, it'll burn down quick, and I won't have to spend half the night out here. But big oak tree is gone all the way out. You can see right now where the opening is there across the road at the neighbor's place where the electric's going to come out. Still got quite a bit of cleanup to do. I could probably easily spend 3 days just back here just cleaning up. Plus that's not even including taking stumps out. I like oaks and I like cedar, so I try to save them when I can. But so I built a little wall here so it can't get of dirt, so it can't get back towards this back part. So worst case, I'll put a wall up on on like 3 of the sides for the night, and then let it just cook, kind of like bake. Yeah, it's burning pretty quick. This was a lot of big limbs and stuff, because I had a couple trees that were diseased, that had like these wood-boring beetles, and or insects or something. So it's a lot of wood to burn. I can't use it for lumber because it's not structurally sound. So, and even when you cut it down, it doesn't look the same. Like the sawdust looks totally different. So this was a cedar tree I was trying really hard to save. Dragged something out of here and it went right over the top of it and snapped it off. So been busy. Had some, the usual setbacks, mechanical stuff, chainsaw issues, supply chain issues, all kinds of shit. So, but you work with what you got to work with. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. Good morning, folks. It's October 4th, middle of the morning, gorgeous day. The puppy's back in the trailer because she's being a pain in my ass today. So she's already been out and I didn't feel like fucking with it. So been working for the last couple of weeks on getting this property ready for the electric company to come in and run power lines. And I don't know exactly how many days. I'll have to go back and look at the videos because I tried to mention like the dates, and of course that'll get pieced together on one video. Between issues with the backhoe, issues with chainsaws, waiting for parts, things like that. When you live in buttfuck in the middle of nowhere, you got to add an extra day or two to any deliveries you're going to get. So busted my chainsaw for the second time, my expensive one for the second time. First time I had a tree that I cut. I judged the angle correct. I just judged the sides the wrong way because it was, and plus it was a real windy day, so I don't know. Some of these trees are so kind of like, when you cut them, you can walk away and they'll sit there perfectly straight and not move. They're not pinching the saw when you take it out, nothing. And then you walk away and wait a few minutes and the wind comes in and it goes the way it was supposed to go. Well, on this one particular tree, it sat back on my chainsaw blade and it was obviously going and there's nothing I could do. So I just left the chainsaw running right in the thing and got away from it. And I didn't have the video going, so unfortunately that would have been interesting. But anyhow, bent the fuck out of my chainsaw blade, the bar I mean, and snapped the chain that was on there and so on. Didn't hurt the saw itself. So you can't necessarily just find all the parts you need for stuff, even if it's a brand name chainsaw, for instance. But I found one. I went to Mount Pleasant, which is the closest bigger city, and went to the steel dealer there. They had one bar and it wasn't the right one. Then I went down to Atlanta where I bought the chainsaw, and they had all kinds of bars and they had the correct one, and I was able to buy one for $42. So not a big deal. So I go on, I'm using the chainsaw for a couple days, and the other day I had a big ass weird shaped tree over here that's a stump for it there. I'd show you the actual tree, but it's on the burn pile and it's already almost burned up. But it went down the way it was supposed to. That was no problem. But I was cutting it up into sections, and it pinched the saw, which happens. So I did like I've done 150 times and went and got the backhoe and lifted up on it to unpinch the saw. So the saw fell down. Well, at the same time the saw fell down, the other half of the log fell down and landed. Like the saw was straight up and down like this, and with the bar up, and the log landed right on the tip of it, and didn't look like anything got bent or busted at the time. Later that day, and that was the last time I used it that day. Well, later that day, I'm putting stuff up, and I realized it busted the fuck out of the plastic on the handle. So now it'll start, but there's no, like, the trigger and all that stuff, like to make it run faster and cut. Completely busted up, so I had to look on eBay, find a new one of those. So I'm waiting for that to show up, which is why I've still got some full trees laying on the ground. Not a big deal. So I've got all of the trees except for a couple. I've got a couple more to cut, and then it's but I'm waiting on that part. So in the meantime, I've been cleaning up and got most of it cleaned up the last couple of days. By cleaned up, I mean all the brush and twigs and branches and everything else thrown on the burn pile. I've still got a little more to do over here. All along the creek I've got more to do, but my main concern for right now for the electric is to get the house site cleared off so that I can grade it, so that I can stake out where the house is going to be and actually start putting my forms for the piers, because I have to have started my foundation for this to be free, and I'll have to do a similar thing on the shop. So I've got a bunch of stumps I got to take out. Haven't decided if I want to bother with that today, but anyway, let's walk around and take a look at this half of the back that's been cleaned up a little bit, and you can actually get a, like I say all the time, to see what you can see. So the house will go right up there. That's the high point, and I'm leaning towards, it's going to be kind of angled like that, so it's going to face into, the front of it will face over there, and also minimizes the amount of space that gets exposed to the direct sunlight in the morning. Of course, I'm going to do like a porch, so that'll get minimized anyway, but the less surface area that gets baked in the sun during the day, the less heating and cooling, the less cooling is going to need in the summer. So anyway, let's keep walking over here. Now, I've still got cleanup to do over here, but it's not essential to getting the in fact, it's not necessary at all to get the electric put in. This is far away. But I had a dead oak tree over here that I believe in one of my earlier videos I was questioning whether it was alive or dead, and turns out it was dead. So I went ahead and cut that down. That's only part of it laying on the ground there. I've already hauled part of it away. So I've got stumps to take out over here. I've got more cleanup to do over here to make it what I want it to be finally. All along the edge over there, which is by where the creek is, that's all going to get cleaned out, all that underbrush. See, the thing is, like, most of these are trees. Some are vines and stuff, but most of them are small trees. Well, you've already got plenty of big trees, and only so many trees can grow within proximity of each other, and they block out the sun and all the other stuff to the other ones, and then you end up with just these rotted little trees or really weird form ones. So I'll be cleaning this up to where it looks nice, but I can walk around easily and so on. And plus, on the other side of the creek, which is my property, I'm not going to clean that up at all. So over there, so that's going to all be privacy type stuff. And I've got the barrier of the creek, so I don't have to worry about it starting on fire or any of that shit. So as you can see, in a previous video, before I did any work over here, before I could even drive over here, I had showed that there's like all kinds of leaves and everything. This is all from last year. We're about to hit where we're going to get hit again, but all that's, I've been scraping off all the top layer of topsoil and vegetation and that, because I'm going to end up planting grass over here. And I'll probably, of course, have to do it again and burn those leaves once the leaves fall here in the next couple of months. But anyway, as you can see, I've done a lot of work over the past couple weeks. This is all cleared out. I've got to take down that tree, that pine tree, that small tree, and I don't know, I may take out this row of four little smaller trees here, and probably that pine tree there. There's a pine tree behind it I'm going to leave, because that starts getting into where I've got a wall I'm leaving for privacy. All the pine trees are out of this area, all the way around. There is one small pine tree over on the side that I'm going to cut down, but I haven't got to it yet. Again, waiting for my chainsaw to get here. So all the oaks will get used for hardwood floors. Some will probably be used for the actual foundation piers that go on top of the supports that'll go on top of the piers, and then like supporting beams for the house. We'll get to that when I actually build. I'll film stuff. But so these two trees are going to come out. That stump's going to come out. That tree's definitely coming out, because that's one of them sweet gum things. It's just like a weed. Can't use it for nothing. They're too sappy to burn, because they'll just clog up your chimney. And they are too, now you could burn them in, like, say, a campfire. But, they're just not worth the time. So that one's just going to come out and get thrown on the burn pile. Got a pine tree laying on the ground there. I got to cut up, and that'll get thrown. Part of it, the top part will get thrown on a burn pile. The bottom part will be used for lumber. This tree probably, I can get probably a post out of it. So we'll see how big. It looks like maybe it'll only be a 4x4. The posts that'll be used for the foundation of the house are going to be at least 6x6. I might do 8x8, because they're not going to be that tall. So I could cut one good length 8x8 out of oak, and then slice it up, and that'll be used for the foundation. Maybe two of them. So, because then I can do it the right way, and you'll see the construction methods I'm going to use. But I'll make a recessed cut on that, so that the boards that hook up to those are actually sitting on the actual. I can bolt them to the actual support, as well as have them sitting right on it. So, so I've got probably a dozen stumps left. I already took some out yesterday, but I've got a dozen or so stumps left I've got to take out. Now, I could take out some of these trees, and I might, by digging them with the backhoe. Especially the smaller ones. The bigger ones, I've done bigger ones with it, but with like ones like this size, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air whether it's better to do it where you cut it off and then get the stump out, or do it the other way around. Now I've got a nice big oak tree that's going to sit right by the house here. That's going to stay. I had to take out a nice oak that was straight as hell over on the corner, which I think I pointed out the other video from the other day, because it's right in line with where the power lines are going to go, and I have to have a 30-foot easement, so 15 feet on each side, and it was on the side within that 15 feet. You can see the stump sitting right there. So directly across all the way over on that tree line in the distance is the opening where the power is going to come across, and it'll basically come straight down here over to somewhere over here. I will have my meter, a frame with the meter and the fuse box on it. Be an outdoor fuse box, probably just be a feeder type of fuse box that will then, once I have the house built, will basically run an underground line to the house and to a regular, more conventional large size fuse box, breaker box, sorry. So been burning this for 5 days, and of course I've been adding to it every day, but so a lot of it's burned up. But like for instance, where this flame is right here, that's actually part of that big weird shaped pine tree that I was talking about. And I had some other logs that were either oak or pine that I had to throw on there, not because they weren't of a size I couldn't use for lumber, but they were bug infested and they were no good for structural lumber. So, and I tried to look at them to see if maybe they'd be interesting for doing, non-structural stuff. Like sometimes when you get some of that bug infestation, it actually ends up looking pretty cool if you do like cabinet doors or something like that out of it. But I just decided there wasn't enough of it to make it match up that it was worth it. So now on the other side, almost everything is out. I've got to take out a small tree directly there, straight ahead, and I've got to take out this big dead tree, what's left of it there. And then that'll pretty much do it for what I've got to take out on the other side. And I've got to clean up all this opening here is where they're going to come through, so all that's got to be cleaned up. But a lot of progress, and the house will sit right up there, like I said. So once I get this cleared off, I'll create an area where the trailer can sit for the, until the house is built. And then I'll move the trailer back here, and then I'm probably going to chill for a little bit, because like I said, I was going to take this month pretty much, or the past month pretty much off, and having to do the stuff for the electric kind of put a kibosh on that. And so I figure I'll take off like the cold months, like say definitely December and January, probably part of November, maybe all of November. So October is going to be pretty much whatever I get done in October is going to last until the spring, which for us here is mid-February. And in the meantime, that doesn't mean I won't do anything. Like in the meantime, I can be cutting lumber, things like that. I got to build a cover for the sawmill. I got to build a cover for the trailer so that it's basically protected and doesn't have the Texas sun beating down on it. It also will help with where I can insulate it and stuff for the winter, and it'll also be where I can give myself some more space because that trailer gets a little cramped over time. So, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's okay for what it is, but you know, sometimes you get a little stir crazy and maybe you don't feel like working, but there's no place to go. You know, I can't just go in the recliner and hang out. You know, it's just not that kind of a trailer. I didn't get one with the slides that go out. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it because I knew it was temporary housing. So, and I wasn't convinced I was going to be able to get anything out of it after I'm done. So, and I'm probably not, because you know, working in a construction site like this and having that be here all the time, it's hard to keep it where it's going to be, you know, reasonable for trying to sell. I'd have to gut the whole thing and redo it. Depending on how long I think I'm going to be in the trailer anyway, I'm going to redo part of it anyway to make it more conducive and comfortable. So I might actually be able to have a recliner in there. I got to measure my recliner because see if it'll fit through the door. And you might say to yourself, well, that obviously won't fit through the door, Bob. But it actually, the back comes off it, so it's in two pieces. So it actually might. I just don't know if the bottom will. I know the top will fit through the door. I just don't know if the bottom will. So anyway, as you can see, the log pile has grown quite a bit, and then I actually got to the point where I'm having to store some down here by the saw. I had a few over there already, so I started bringing over yesterday, bringing some more over there. Figuring I'll just cut those up first and then start working on the big pile. I've also got some that were from before that are behind where the trailer is. So, and I've got a bunch of logs still to bring over from the back. Originally I wasn't going to worry about bringing those over, but I just figured, you know what? Once I got the trailer over there, I don't want to have to worry about running into it when I'm dragging these things out and stuff. Let's just get it done. So I just decided to go ahead and do it. But anyway, that's where we're at. Till next time.